This is going to be an interesting review. A review not just about the beer, but it's a review about myself. Now, the premise behind this beer is, I'm always writing down possible names for beers, from science articles I read, news articles. Hey, that'd be a cool name. Kind of ran out of names, but I had a good flavor concept. I love banana. We've done some banana stuff in the valley, maybe like about a dozen lab rats. And I feel we do banana well. We do a lot with banana and chocolate. We've done a lot with caramel. So I wanted to do something decadent of my favorite things for this pastry stout. As a kid, my mom used to make pies. One of my favorites was banana cream pie. Nice flaky crust, the banana, the whipped cream. I loved it. I love bananas. And I didn't want to do just a straight banana cream pie. It's kind of normal-ish. So we did something a little more outlandish. We took it to the next level. We've been doing good with salt. We've been learning how to use salt in just the right proportions to accentuate gozas and a few different salted beers and stouts that we've done, Supreme Allied Commander. So I feel we're doing great with salt and a lot of flavor, so I wanted to take it to that next step with a salted caramel banana pudding double Imperial oatmeal pastry stout. Now my wife, she didn't want me to do this. I kind of snuck it in the brew schedule because she's deathly afraid that the greater public, they don't appreciate banana as much as I do. I think they do. I think they do if it's done right. It needs that balance. It can't be fakey fake banana. It's gonna mesh with everything. And we totally hit those marks. It is a delicious beer. But the history of this, as you can see from the label, it's a bunch of zodiac signs. This represents me, self. There were a bunch of other better names, but there were a few breweries that were using them on Untapped, and I didn't want to risk that, so Self is the name of this beer. But on the label, you'll see 5 astrological signs. Technically, there's 6, but my mom does not know. She's great with dates and times. She does not know the time that I was born. So we are missing a part of my astrological signs. But I'm saying astrology, and you guys are thinking, what, Ron? You mean astronomy? You're a science guy. No, I mean astrology. I'm not religious per se. I'm not spiritual per se. I don't dismiss them. I grew up in a religious background. I'm just not a religious person or spiritual. I'm a scientist first, but I'm open-minded, so my son, one of my 2 sons, he's been getting into astrology, and initially I heard him talk, to me, to mom, to his friends, and it just went in one ear out the other, because, come on, astrology, how can the stars determine who you are? And then he read mine one night, kind of recently, within the last couple of months, and then read my wife's, read himself, his brothers, a couple people that we know well enough to know who they are as a person and their emotions. And damn, if it wasn't nearly spot on, I swear it hit my over 80% mark for, all right, there's something to this. It's not all true, but it's damn near close. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out from a science point of view, astrology is, you've got your sign, the month you were born, Cancer, and then you've got certain constellations that were in that area around your sign during this time frame, and that determines your emotions, your passions, your intellect, or this or that. How can that make a person who they are? All the people that are born, on June 24th, 1974 at 1 a.m. are like this, or like these types of people. I'm still trying to figure it out. I've got a couple of ideas, but it's going to take a lot of science and money to prove. But anyway, it was fun. So we're just going to quickly go through my astrological signs, which are on the label art, so you guys get to know me better. You see me, every week, yipping about something. Some of you have met me and have talked to me. Maybe some of this will make sense. Maybe some of you can learn about it, how to approach me a little bit better on things. Definitely the staff should be paying attention to this, but it is very close. So let's start with my main sign, Cancer Sun. I'm born in mid-June, so I'm a Cancer. And Cancer Sun, that's a personality trait, and that pretty much says I'm sensitive, I take on other people's problems, I'm self-protective, I'm empathetic, I want to empathize with you. I'm loving, I've got a goofy sense of humor, which I do. But the biggest thing about all those things is empathetic. And I am empathetic, and that is one of my biggest downfalls as an owner of a business. It's gotten me into trouble before. When you're a business owner, it's one thing when you have a handful of employees, it's another thing if you got 40 or 50, and trying to empathize with everyone's problems while trying to run a business and grow it, and I'm dealing with all the business problems. A lot of time that gets to be too much, and it's a mental distraction that takes me away of, keeping the business together for all the other employees. So that's something that I'm trying to work on, especially as we grow, separating, not to say that I don't care, but in my position, I can't empathize too much, I've got to run the business for all the other employees. So I'm working on that. It's a tough thing for me because, I do want to empathize with people. Enough about that. Let's go to the second sign. We will go to my Leo moon. So that is my emotions. I'm passionate. I'm creative. Think of, the beer, all the flavors, the label art. I love doing this. My other hobbies, the business before this, it was purely a creative thing. It was an online beginner triathlete business, 100% creative for the first couple of years, and I loved it. I love creating things. I'm confident, and I am confident. I took a leap with a few businesses. I'm not overly confident. I run the numbers, I run the math diligently. I just don't go into things blindly. That is not me. I go into them with numbers. I'm proud of what I do. I will expect respect from others. If you don't respect me, then I'm not going to listen. So that was pretty easy. Let's talk about my third sign, Cancer Mercury. Now this is about communication and intellect. Now the first thing off the bat it says is a Cancer Mercury person takes things personally. I do. And we can explain that from a customer service perspective. One of my first jobs out of high school on my own was I worked at a vision insurance company. I was a customer service rep. I liked that. I liked customer service. And with this company, reading reviews and this and that, and staffing and how customers are served, it means everything to me. I don't want you to have a bad experience. A lot of times, and I've kind of gotten shit for it, but you've got to understand that, the customer keeps the business going. If the products are good, if the service is good, the business is good, everyone stays employed. It's a win-win. When negative Google reviews come in, I don't automatically give my staff a "you're fine" card. blame the customer. No. I look at the review, I do some research, and sometimes the staff did a wrong thing. Sometimes our staffing levels were wrong. It's not their fault, it's more of the system. Something's missing, some communication got missed. And sometimes there's a customer issue that I just can't solve no matter how good my staff is. But we have had a lot of reviews that have come in that, oh yeah, we could have handled this better. So we have a staff meeting and we talk about it and how can we prevent this from happening again, because I do want you to have the best experience. So that is my cancer mirror sign. That's the main part. The other part is, I'm withdrawn. I'm thoughtful with who I interact with. I'm a good listener, and I circled that one, a good listener. And that's our problem. I am a good listener, and it has gotten me into trouble and other people into trouble because they're hearing one thing and I'm just listening. So when you're talking to me and me being a good listener, I'm like, yeah, no, that sounds like a great idea. That sounds like a great idea. What the other person hears is, he thinks it's a great idea, so I'm going to be able to do this, or I'm going to be promoted to this position. No, we're just talking. I'm a good listener. I'm acknowledging what I heard from you. I'm not saying, oh, okay, go ahead and do this, run with it. It gets us into trouble all the time because I guess I am a good listener. And it goes back to the empathy. I empathize with you, but I'm also a thinker. I never make snap decisions, especially if I'm being presented something for the first time. I want to go home, think about it, play chess with it, what can happen, is there a better way even, before I come back to you with, okay, we're going to do this, you're going to be in this position, and this is how we're going to do that. So please, when we're talking and I'm being a good listener, I'm not writing a blank check. Just, it's a good conversation, let's revisit it, and everyone will be on the same page. So that's a tough one, and I repeatedly get into trouble with that. I'm starting to limit the people that I talk to, especially in the work environment. A chain of command. I love a chain of command. We've got our general manager reports to me, the head of brewing operation reports to me, the valley general manager reports to me, and that's it. It keeps things simple. There's no miscommunication from this other employee who talks to me, and I'm a good listener, and I say, that's a good idea, and they think that I said, yes, you're promoted to this position and you can do that stuff. No, that's not how the conversation went. So, and especially taking out of the chain of command, things need to go through the chain of command. Go to your manager, and if it's got to come to me, that's how it goes. So, that's a tough one for me. A good listener. Taurus Venus. Let's move on to our fourth sign. Taurus Venus, that is relationships and how I love. So my son says, I believe Taurus, it's an earth sign. Venus, gotta love. An earth sign is incredibly important to me. Remember that beer we came back in the valley called Visceral? Visceral is like, it's a very senseful experience. It's raw, it's just emotions and sensations, it's visceral. I love my five senses: wind, rain, hot, cold, air smells. A couple of years ago, I got a Wrangler. I drive that thing everywhere, without doors, without a roof. I like the air, I like the wind, I like the sensations, I like my hair blowing, my beard blowing. I just love that. It fills me with some energy. I don't know why, I can't explain it. when we used to go to Florida every summer for a couple of months before the brewery. We'd spend time with our in-laws down there on the West Coast. So right when we went off the Florida mainland, and we hit the little island R.Shea on our way to Pine Island, right as we left the mainland, I made everybody in the middle of summer put the windows down as we went over R.Shea. There's a lot of mangroves, a lot of the ocean's right there. Just to smell all those wonderful mangrove sensations. And I have learned to embrace the heat down in Florida. I'll run in high noon in Florida in the summer. I just like that. So that's my Taurus sign coming out. I also need predictability and dependability. I do. I need a somewhat predictable schedule. I need to know that I can count on you, that you're dependable. If you're not dependable, then it's not going to work. I'm very consistent, but I do not like to be pushed or cornered. Case in point, if let's talk about a salesman. If a salesman comes in, he's pushy, he tries to corner me. If I don't need the product in the first place, or I've got to make a switch which is going to cause work, I'm sorry, no business for you. It's unnecessary. Don't be pushy. What I do like is if a salesperson stops down and there could be a need for that product or a product switch in the future, just keep checking in every couple of months, reminding me, running a business, you've got a lot of people asking you about things, you're solving a lot of problems, you're a little fragmented up here. So understand that and just keep dropping by. And more times than not, something's going to happen to supplier A or some situation. And if you do your regular pop-in, hey Ron, remember me? Just saying hi. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm glad you stopped in. I need this product right now. I've got problems with, the other supplier. Can you help me? And you got my business. That's what works very well for me. And case in point, buying this Wrangler a couple of years ago, we went to several dealerships to do test drives. Dealer A, a place in Cuyahoga Falls, this kind of younger guy in his 20s, super laid back. We went on a test drive. No pushiness whatsoever. No, I've got to sell this. What would it take for you to buy this today? Nothing. We asked all the questions. He did not, he was not a typical salesman. He was a good listener. He was just there to answer questions when we got out of the car. He wasn't hovering, waiting for a decision or this. He went back, said, oh, just let me know if you need me. It seemed too good to be true, so we went to dealership B. This guy was a total, totally pushy. His boss was on him to sell me something off that lot, and we picked up on it immediately. He was trying so hard, and it was kind of uncomfortable. And we had to just leave. It was super bizarre. It was very pushy. And then we went back to the other guy, and guess who made the sale? So don't try to corner me. Don't push me into a decision. I'm a Taurus in this. Come on. Leo Mars. That's the 5th of my 6 signs. That's the last one we're talking about, because remember, my mom doesn't know the exact time that I was born. Leo Mars, that's my sex and aggression. The key point of this one is I'm very impatient with small-mindedness. Now, let me explain that, because that's, impatient with small-mindedness. So, I'm a scientist, so that plays into this. So, scientists, we're open-minded. We're trying to figure things out. When you're trying to figure things out, figure out how things work, you've got to come open-minded with a clean slate. I hate people in situations where someone thinks that they're perfect or they're always right. I cannot work with you if I know that. A lot of times, I'm slow to make decisions. I'm quiet if we're having a dialogue and we're working things out. There's not a decision made. Know that I am thinking about that through the next couple of days. If it's not a critical timing thing, I'm taking everyone's information and I try to be very apolitical. I try to play chess with all the situations on this decision, what could happen, who's going to benefit, who's going to lose, trying to get the best, something's going to lose, something's going to win, trying to make it work for everybody. And what a lot of people don't know is, there's a decision that needs to be made, or there's an issue or a situation. I don't want to sound pompous, but I've got pretty much all of the information, all of the background numbers to a business, all of this, all of that, what's going on. I know everything that's going on. I know the numbers, I know where the company's at, I know what we need to do. And when someone's closed-minded or think they're right, they're coming from a very small frame of reference. They know a sliver of information that I do. And I'm not dismissing their thoughts or feelings. I may agree with part of it, but I need people that are going to work with me to be very open-minded and being able to adjust with changing situations. Things can't work always the same. Sometimes we got to change them, and I've witnessed firsthand that we put a change into the mix and it just throws certain small-minded people off, and that just causes problems. So with those people, I just layer people between them and me, because a lot of times they are great workers and we need them, but there's just a lot of drama in that. So I think I would be I've always thought I would be a great president of the country, but not really a president. I always thought I would be a great steward, because I don't want to be, there's something with the president name that doesn't strike me well. King, this and that, dictator. I would be a great caretaker, a great steward, because they're more apolitical, they're open-minded, and they for the people. My political leanings, I do have political leanings. I like stuff of the Democrats, I like stuff of the Republicans. So I'm open-minded like that, and certain things, I like them, certain things, those guys are good for that. So I always think I would be a good steward for a country. But I'm making beer, and I don't think that I need that responsibility. This is enough. So that is my astrological signs and how best to work with me, I guess. And believe me, I'm still learning. I'm learning to separate empathy and business. That's tough for me, because that creates a lot of emotional stress for me, and it ends up being a distraction from what I need to do. And I'm not afraid to say it, I've been seeing a shrink for quite a long time, for everything. I want to understand why I feel the way I do, and I see a shrink because I am open-minded and I want to learn. I want to learn why this person feels this way. I want to learn other points of view. So that is me right here. So I don't know if any of it rings true for those of you that know me, but that is this beer. Me, my favorite things. We've talked way too much. Let's crack this open. And the banana is going to hit you first. Oh, it's got a great banana smell. and then that chocolate hits you, and then the pudding comes out as a richness. And this is our 12% stout, so it still has a good deal of unfermentable sugars, which lends body. The oatmeal lends creaminess. And the salt is, it's one thing about salt. I was talking with a couple guys earlier today. If you didn't know salt was there, you may not guess it unless you had a side-by-side of this beer unsalted and this beer salted. Then you can definitely tell the difference. But salt is more of a mouthfeel thing. This beer actually uses the most salt that we've ever used. You know, from a Goza, from the other pastry stout we did, Supreme, Allied Commander. This uses a ton of salt. It's got a ton of flavors to punch through. But it accentuates these flavors. They come out in a different way. It cuts that sweetness down that would otherwise be present. It's a delicious beer. I'm supposed to talk about food and cheese pairings, but don't. This is dessert right here. And that's it. So with that, the review is done, and we hope to see you this weekend. And yeah, check out your astrological signs. It's interesting. You don't have to believe it. It doesn't mean that you're not religious or this or that. It's just interesting. Open your mind. Discuss some of the main sign points with people you know, and it's just interesting. If anything, it's a good discussion, and it's like, oh, really? And then, oh, okay, is that how you guys see me? And chances are they do, and you learn something about yourself. But no, it was an interesting discussion with my son, because he's super passionate about it. And no, I think as long as we keep learning about ourselves and other people, we are becoming better humans. And now I'm done.